Yep. Okay. We're good. Hang on a minute. All right. Um, yeah, so on today's episode, I'm sure we all saw the flyer. Today we're talking about the parents' way versus the teacher's way. And we are very, very fortunate, blessed, lucky, all of the above, to have a very competent person that's going to handle this topic. She's more than competent. Let me just put it that way. She is more than competent. Uh, okay, I'll say that one at the end, maybe not now. She is an educationist par excellence. That one, I'm adding that one because she brings excellence to the word education. She is a mom. So, I mean, she's going to talk about the two sides. She cannot do Pasha. And then, yes, she's a school consultant as well. I'll just hand over so that she can tell us more about herself before we delve into today's topic, like before we start going. So, Glory, just tell us about yourself. Brief, brief, brief. Over to you.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hi.
My name is Glory Ogbokoh, and I'm an educationist. Okay, so she said pretty much everything that there is to say. Yes, I'm a mom of three lovely children, and for every step of the way, I try to be as deliberate as I am, especially when it comes to do with their academics and social and emotional development. So my kids actually I would say that like they're my like lab rats, right? So I always experiment with them. Okay, so you see me trying to do a lot of research. I study them and all that, so it makes it a little bit easier when you meet other people. You can actually relate. Okay, this is this. I've seen this before and all that with other people. So yes, I love teaching. I've been teaching for a while now, say about 8 years, 9 years thereabout, and I have taught, I have done administrative, I've headed, but all the time I always miss teaching in between. So that's there is to know. So I will be the one taking you on the parent way versus teachers way today. And I would like for this session to be extremely, extremely interactive as it relates to our everyday life experiences with our teachers, our children's teachers. So yes, Kayla. Any other thing to
All
add
right.
on?
Thank you very much. So that's our participant for today. I'm still trying to, buy just some little time for more people to come in. But yeah, we're good. She, Glory told me
But
before now that she really wants, you want to say something?
yes, I just noticed that some people have their microphones muted. So I don't know if you can send a message to them
Okay.
to see how they can unmute it. Because I can see, yes, I can see Abigail and Nkeste. The microphones are muted. Almost everybody though.
Yeah, because when we're speaking, if their microphones are not muted, background noise can
Oh, okay,
yeah. So
okay, and
just
all
for the
that.
recording
Okay, I
purpose. So when they want to contribute, when it's time to contribute, you can all unmute your microphones. So Gloria said she would like today's episode to be really interactive. I think I even have a couple of polls myself, but she would handle all of that. So when it's time to bring your voice, raise your voice, contribute, then you can unmute your microphone. But when we're not speaking, then we can mute our microphone. So we just don't have too many audio interferences just for the recording purposes. Thank you, guys.
okay,
So,
great. Yeah,
Glory, the floor is yours. Over to you.
yeah. Okay, so you're welcome again, everybody, to this very interesting topic on parents' way versus teachers' way. Now, for new parents, I would like to start with saying that picking a school most times is very dicey. You find yourself in different phase of mind trying to decide, okay, is this school good enough? What am I really looking out for? You know, with all that tension in your head and in your mind. and then all the many questions when you go to see, that also sums up about what the school community is about. So now every school has, of course, a community, and the community is made up of the teachers, the administrators, the students, and the student family. Now, moving on, when we have new school year for beginning students, for students moving to a new class, we always have new teachers, we always have new classmates, we have new relationships to form. Now, if your previous teacher was very amazing, you look forward to finding out the next teacher, okay, what does this person have to offer? In fact, you even go, behind to start asking questions about that teacher, because you probably would want a continuity from your previous teacher, on to the next, to see what value that they have to add on to you. So you alone also know that you have an attachment to your prior teacher. Now, moving on to that, it tells you that the most significant relationship that has to be formed, aside students meeting their new classmates, you find out that it has to also be formed by the teacher and by the parent. In fact, that's the most important relationship that will actually be created. Now, when we do that, we find out that it helps the children to grow academically, they grow emotionally, they grow psychologically and socially. So it just creates that balance, like a home away from a home situation. So, on the topic, parents' way versus teachers' way, we find out that a lot of times you hear children saying things like, oh, my teacher said this, my teacher said that. Now, when they do that as parents, when they do that, it makes us feel like, is it that this child actually feels like the teacher knows better than we do? Trust me, yes, that's how they feel. And why do they feel like that? In their head, if you've sent them out there to learn something else away from their home, they feel that you automatically don't know that thing that you're sending them out for. So for the fact that they're going out there to get a certain knowledge, it is as though that they're bringing it to teach you, whether you like it or not, whether you've experienced it ever or not. So that's the more reason why they feel that their teacher knows what best, or their teacher knows everything. So on the content of this topic, we have teachers' influence on a child. It shows definitely that a child will soak up every characteristics of their teacher, every mode of operation of their teacher, and they will most times try to replicate it in their everyday life. So even as teachers, it's important for teachers to also know the value that they have in the life of a child. Now, I am a parent and I am a teacher, but I still face, when I do homework with my kids, I still face the whole ahead teacher was one teacher that, of course, would definitely always stroke you for no just reason in her class. So it makes it difficult to even learn anything from her. So she just picks on you. Funny enough, what she picks on are actually your physical characteristics. So you hear things like, oh, you think you're fine, or you think you're tall, or you think you're this. You're getting into your head. So she doesn't even have the time to try to even make you want to learn or get interested. Was just not one of my favorite at all. So in all of this, what I'm trying to state now is that a teacher actually has either a negative influence on the child or a positive influence on the child. And I know that we all had that one teacher that if the teacher wasn't in school, the teacher was sick, we'll all be excited because, well, we won't have that class. It's not even about the subject, but it was about the personality of that teacher. Now, if the teacher is not in school, oh my God, we all feel that relief. Why do you think that is? Teacher would have made the child feel it could be self-esteem issues, it could be any other thing. Now, another thing that a lot of parents have concerns with is the fact that they feel as the children spend longer hours in school, the reason of the child is the teacher's responsibility, is the school's responsibility. If anything happens, anything goes wrong, it is the school's fault or is the teacher's fault. I beg to differ because even as the Montessori method will tell you that both the life of the life of a child is built both by the parent and the teacher. Now, there's really no proportion to this. I could say 45% maybe parents, I could say 65% maybe teacher. Now, if we know that we're all working towards the same objective, why do we not have a synergy that would help us make sure that this child is going to grow academically, is going to grow socially, is going to grow emotionally? So that is it. The influence a child has, you will see a child trying to walk like the teacher, dress like the teacher, talk like the teacher. All that is because the child sees the world through a teacher's eyes, whether we like that or not. So that's for teachers' influence on a child. It is solely the fact that what they have seen, they may not always see that at home. And in their head, for you to have sent them out of home to learn something, it means you don't know it. So they trust the teacher better. And that's why when you're trying to do homework, they'll tell you, no, my teacher said this. So like I've mentioned before. Now, another content of the parent way, teacher's way, is when they have conflicts. A new parent comes into a class or comes or meets a teacher, they begin to say things like, oh, my child is allergic, my child is this, my child is that, my child is this. It tells you that they already know the child, the children of the child. Now, it tells you also that the home is the first place where the child picks whatever knowledge that he or she gets before you throw that child into the world where the teacher tries to mold and build and grooms and nurtures. But the truth of the matter is, when you have conflict of opinions, it would tell on the children, both academically, both emotionally. When that instability is very obvious, it causes a glitch in performance of the child, and then even for the zeal for the teacher to carry on is also affected. Now, what are the common reasons why teachers have or parents have conflict with teachers? Now, most times you see parents trying to tell the teacher what to do based on their jobs. You don't see that you need to just trust the teacher. You don't see the teacher coming to your business or your office trying to tell you what to do. If they do that, I'm sure you pick an offense about it. Truth be told, definitely you pick an offense about it. Now you need to trust the teacher. If you trust the teacher, then the teacher would understand the fact that you are working closely with them for the same objective. Now, when there's lack of trust, when there is lack of communication, we have a lot of parents missing in action. The only time they pick on what the child is doing is when maybe something has gone wrong. But you have to build a relationship with your teachers. You have to start feedbacks, give information as much as possible to be able to help the child get to the end of it. And another thing is, we need to own up to our mistakes as parents. If you've done something, you know that this is maybe my fault, you don't try to push it away from yourself, but you need to own up your mistake. There are times when you see a teacher making a complaint to the parent, and you hear things like, oh, it didn't happen in school, this was the first time, right? So how come those behaviors are happening? How do you manage those behaviors? So we are not the enemy, parents are not the enemy, teachers are not the enemy. We just need to figure out a way to work things out. Get to know your child's teacher, and let the teacher go see you through the journey of your child's abilities, see you through the journey of your child's development, your child's growth. Everything that you need to acknowledge, you need to have an open mind to these things. So when parents and teachers work as partners, the children definitely do better in school and even at home. Their grades will improve, their behavior and their attitude also would improve. So we need to open a very good communication channel. Now, how do you communicate with your teachers, parents? How do you communicate? It's a different ball game now. When you now realize that, okay, we're partners in this thing, the way of communication has to be deliberate. It has to be well doctored. So you have different channels of opening up and assisting your children's development, both academically. You have the school diaries, where most times they put in homework. They put in homework there, yes, but then you can also put in some concerns. You have the newsletter that goes out. You have phone numbers, although some schools have policies that keep the teacher away from the parents. However, the school calendar is very important. Actually book a one-on-one meeting as well with your teachers. Now try to stay positive and try to make sure that whatever complaint you have is open, it is clear, it is constructive, and it is timely. You don't need to start calling your teachers by 8 p.m. because something has happened. Please also try and make sure that you preserve their privacy. It is very paramount that we understand that teachers also have families, and as much pressure as you put into them affects their quality of the work that they produce, both at home and in school where it concerns your child. Trust me, there's no teacher that will go to bed actually planning and strategizing for your children the next day. So we need to build that trust. We need to build in that trust and ensure that partnership is something that we take very, 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 very important. Um, Another thing that we need to ensure is when you are when you're accusing a teacher for not either doing their jobs or not, you need to also phantom the fact that um, the teacher has been through the fact that your child has a need and is working towards that and is making sure that that need is being met, probably having targets and all that. So this whole thing is a process. It is not just a one day thing. You need to set targets that has to be met at the end of the day. So if there are any questions, I could take any question right now, but that's not the closure. But I just want somebody to say something or add something so that it has a feedback and it's not just me having a conversation with myself. So who has anything to say, any questions to ask?
Hi everyone, this is Abigail speaking. Can you hear me?
Hello, Abigail. Yes, I can hear you.
Well, I heard you said something like the parents have to make the meeting between the teacher and themselves. So I want to share on that because it depends on the scenario and it depends on the kindly stay muted. Thank you. So in my own case,
Yes, Miss Abigail, go ahead. I can hear you.
thank you.
Yes.
Like I have a child that is almost 6 years old. Normally, like next week is it's called report week.
Okay.
Irrespective of they've been homeschooled for the last 1 year,
Okay.
and we normally don't make the report section, like when you have, if your child is underperforming or is overperforming,
Overperform.
there is
Okay.
always stipulated period for these meetings between the parents and the teacher. So
Okay.
like next week now, there are time slots you have to choose when you
The
want to
timing.
your
Okay.
time with virtual, because
Okay.
people are quite busy where I am
Mhm.
at. So, why I'm saying this is, I don't know how it works. Like parents have to say they want to see their teacher, the teacher of their child, maybe because the child is underperforming or something happened, or blame the teacher, because it's a
Okay.
two-way thing, and that's why we're parent and teacher.
Yes.
And I know from age 0 to 6 years, children mostly pick up most of the things they reflect from the home. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people tend to blame the teachers, but from my own perspective and from my own observation, I've noticed that children normally pick those things from home. Of course, they
Okay.
pick things with friends and everything, but majority of the things they pick from 0 to 6 are from the home. And then for meetings, where I am now, you don't fix meeting for the teacher. The teacher state, because when they learn every semester or every term, they have to put time
Mm-hmm.
slots for you to fix the
Pick a
meeting.
time. Yes.
Yeah. So I think, as if I'm talking from a teacher perspective, I don't know if that can be implemented, because teachers also, they also have like, okay, let me a whole lot of things. But because we are on 1 week holiday, I cannot just send the teacher any email. I have to wait till school
Mm-hmm.
resume next week. Just like you mentioned, you have to understand the teachers, they have family at
Yes.
home. So what I'm trying to say is this: teachers should keep that limit, or make it known to the teachers, or to the parents, that
Brilliant.
they can only be contacted this time, and it's only when they fix meetings that they can come for report or anything. However, I understand there are parents teacher association meetings. That's different. That has to do with the school happenings and things happening in the school development, but that doesn't have to do with the child. So it's just, what I'm just saying is, parents should also understand that there is a limit at which they
You
can go.
can
So
reach the teachers. Yes.
yes, exactly. So it's quite, when you say that they can, like, parents come to the school or say something because the child is not performing. I think the teachers should just put when they want the parents to come and ask or say something about what's happening about their child.
Okay, that's why I also mentioned a few channels for I mentioned a few channels for communication. Now I don't know what school you are in, but there's usually something called like a homeschool diary,
Well,
where most times you have to state
yeah,
homework
like I
in
stay in the
mhm.
Netherlands. My daughter, they use Microsoft Teams to learn, and they have
Okay,
the activity file on the folder of the Teams where they pick up the work and
okay,
everything. And then we also have the
okay,
school application, the school app, and then we also have the school email. It's an application, so it doesn't really come to your
okay,
mail. All these things come on the app.
okay,
So you have the where to book for the meeting, you have where to book for anything you want to see is on the application, this classroom. So
okay.
all you need to do is just go to your child's class and
And you get
click, and then
okay.
you get all of the details you're looking for, all of the information rather you're looking
But do you
for.
have like a platform there where you can give a feedback on maybe if
Sure,
there's
sure,
something that
sure,
you
sure,
do?
sure. Indeed, everything
Okay,
is there. Is on the application. So the email, the activity, the school newsletters, if they go on a school trip, everything, folders for pictures, all are there. So you have to react. So you don't even see the teacher until when they say
the
you have to
slotted
come
time.
see. Mm, mm. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for your contribution. Any other person has anything to share? Questions?
I see someone's hand up. Chime, you can go on, unmute yourself and ask your
Yes,
question or
Jimmy
contribute.
Ogbokoh. Yeah, he should make it. Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank
Good
you, Glory,
evening.
for the teaching. I'm really learning a lot. So, my first question is I like the fact that, as the facilitator of today's topic, you're also a
Mm-hmm.
teacher. So,
Yes.
you get to bring in practical experience to what you're saying.
Yes.
So, my first question is, as a teacher, there are times that you have had to deal with personal issues and, of course, teaching these children. How were you able to ensure that the personal issues you were having didn't impact on your teaching. I don't know if you
Okay, let me get
understand.
your question right. Let me go over it. You're asking if personal issues, maybe for example, maybe some issues I have at home, or maybe if I lost somebody
Yes.
and maybe I'm emotionally
Uh-huh.
down, how it was able to,
Yes,
did it
yes,
have a negative impact in delivery in classroom? Is that what you're asking? And
yes,
how, or yeah,
yes,
if it
yes,
did
yes.
have, how I was able to manage that, right?
Manager, yes.
Okay.
Then my second question, I don't know if it's
Okay, go
out
ahead.
of
I'm going to just write the
the
question.
scope.
Mm-hmm.
So let's assume I am a parent and I want to enroll my child in a school for the first time. So
Okay.
what are the things I need to look out for while searching for a school for my child? Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem. You're welcome. Okay, so you've asked, the first question is how I was able to tackle if I have had personal relationship issues and how it affected me, my delivery in classroom. Um, I've had a few. I've had a few, yes, but the thing is this: everybody, as an individual, handles certain personal problems differently. Now, for me, how I was able to go through or scale through is this: I always find peace in my classroom. And now this is not me being me exaggerating or anything. The times when we go on holiday, once I step back my legs into my school facility, I just have this. Yes, I lost my dad at one point while I was that was about 3 years ago, and I knew how I heard that news when I was in school. I heard that news when I was in school. Of course, it was just not a right time to break that kind of a news. And but the good thing is that I didn't have to. I wasn't teaching at the time, but I knew that in my heart of hearts, I just wanted to leave there. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to find out what has happened and what next to do. I was quite confused. So I just packed my things and I left. And I took some time off to get myself back into the right frame of mind. And that is what school administrators, they need to understand, that the quality of the work that will be produced will be affected if the teacher is emotionally unstable. So if you need to take a time off, please take a time off, because whether you like it or not, it would show in the work that you are doing, even no matter how much you try to pretend. So I did take some time off before I took about 2 days off before I came back into my classroom. And then I knew I was prepared to continue. And when they asked, of course, they were empathetic about the situation. You know, I was able to come over it because I had people that supported me. I had even the students, they were aware of, okay, this is what happened. They were being really nice. They did a lot of nice stuff. So it helped me, relax and know that, okay, I have people that I can lean on. I have people that care about me. Where the problem is when they do not they do not they do not understand your situation or did not want to care about your situation. First things first, your psychology matters. So anything you need to do, please, that has to get you up and running again, please take a break if you must. There's no let's handle the situation with your emotional instability. You go back into the classroom. I'm not one for that at all. I'm one for please take a break if you need to. Take a break. I hope that answers your question. And if anybody else has something else to say, that'll be perfectly fine. So, but let me answer the second question. The second question is, when you're looking for schools for your child, the thing that you're looking for should be, first of all, how safe is the environment? You look at security, you look at how now you're moving on to the curriculum. You're asking yourself, okay, what do I want to expose my child to? What level of education? How extensive do I want it to be? want my child to be grounded? Do I want my child to have an international background? Do I want my child to have a mix of the Nigerian and the international background? You ask yourself, what do I want my child to learn? Values. What kind of values? Do they have standard? Do they have are they known for respect? Are they known for certain values in the society? Now, those questions are things that you would need to find out by when you get to the school. So you find out what they do in their curriculum, you find out what they do extracurricular, because in as much as you look at the curriculum and it's all packed, hello,
Go back to that place. Your
if in
dad
as much
kept.
as you
Why
look
did you
at the
do this? Come here.
curriculum, and
Why did you do that now? Why do you have to clean what you drew? Is it nice?
Miss Shola, you're disrupting our class.
Sorry.
Yes. So in as much as you want your children to be academically smart, please also try to think about harnessing their personal skills and their personal talent. Not all the children will end up being medical doctors. There are people that would end up being artists, people that will end up being footballers, people that will end up being other things. So a school that can cater for both the academic and the extracurricular activities will do well for your child's development, not just academically. You also look at proximity. How close is the school from maybe your house? Because you don't want to tire out the children. You cannot be living here and you're taking your children like 2 hours or 1 hour away from the house. Think about the traffic, what time they have to wake up. All those things are very important so that you don't tire out the children if they have to come to school the next day. So I hope I've been able to answer a few of that question. So for the emotional part of it, where he asks personal relationship with your class, is there anyone that has anything to add on to that?
No, I don't think there's anybody that has anything to add. But I think that it's interesting how that question came, because the second question, I mean, this is Kayla speaking now, the one about how to know the kind of schools to pick for your
Okay.
kids, because that was the second topic we were considering for today's today's webinar, and that is so
Yes,
interesting
yes.
how that question came in. But I think I have a question. I don't know, do you want to go on with
Okay,
your
mom.
seminar, or do you want to go on with your presentation, or can we ask questions now?
You can ask questions, but let me just say something. In
Okay.
all, what I'm trying to say is there is no parent way, there is no teacher's way. It is our way. So it's parent teacher working together to build a formidable team on behalf of the children, because a teacher makes an undeliverable memory in the minds of those children. So that synergy between the parent and the teacher is very important. So, like I said, I'm going to state again, there is no parent way, teacher's way. It is just our way. Now, even if you must, for example, assist your child maybe with home lessons or whatnot, you may have to consult the teacher. Now, that's because of conflict of opinions when it comes to a topic. What a teacher would teach or how the teacher would teach would definitely be different from what a lesson teacher that maybe you got from another school or somewhere else would teach. So if you know that you need to make sure that your child has a boost in academics, in social development, work with the teacher. Let the teacher be able to give you materials that you need to work with at home, because we all are still bent on serving the same objective, which is trying to make sure that the
Wow.
children grows. So yes, I think you can ask your questions now. We're keeping it as short as possible. So yeah, you
Okay.
can ask. I'm
Oh,
here.
mine it's not a question. Thank you so much, Gloria. It's very insightful, all you said, especially
Okay.
the aspect of proximity, and also knowing that everybody will not be a medical doctor or a lawyer, knowing that there are also other skills. In fact, right now, I don't think medical field or anything that will really making the money. Like we all know, the money is in entertainment and IT. So mine
Yes.
is not really question per se. Like, okay, I
Okay.
will just digress a little bit. My daughter said, I was asking her birthday, what do you want? She said she wants a microphone and something. I think one other thing. I said, why do
Sorry,
you
this
want?
is this Abigail?
Yes, this is Abigail.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I said, okay, I'm going to look for the microphone. I don't know what it's for, but but if it's music, it's still fine. Whatever it is, But I just want to say thank you, because all you have said is very, very insightful. Like when I was choosing school for my daughter, because I work too, so I looked at the proximity. Like from next year, not next year, this year she's going to be close to the house, because they have two locations for the school. For the very little one, they
Okay.
go to the other place, which is farther, like 30 minutes. But from 4 months' time, she will just be like 5 minutes walk from home. So, which is very great. So, now
Yes.
sleeping time extra 1 hour, even though she's an early riser. So it's all of those considerations are, like you have mentioned, are really important when looking for school. I wish we also have new mothers or people that are intending to get married on this platform, because these are things that people pay for, but now we are getting them for free. But
Free.
they have the skills, they give in the school, things like that. So those are very, very valid points that you've made. So I just want to say thank you.
No problem. Thank you to Abigail. So I think Rohoma sent a message on home teacher, homeschool, something.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
sorry.
remember. What did she say?
Sorry to cut. You also said something that we
Okay.
should always contact the teaching. Follow, like last time I was sharing with Kalachi on this, I also mentioned that whatever you do, try to follow the school curriculum. Because I remember
Yes.
on long-term break and we're teaching, the teachers were like, no, I should not go in that. Sometimes parents
In
were
that
even
direction, yes.
optimistic about what we want to give them, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit too forward. And they said, no, you don't do it. They like to do it their own way, because they are the experts. No matter how much we are helping out, we are still amateur in that, except like you
Yes.
who have taken courses, spent time on this. Whatever we do, we have to try and follow the curriculum of the
Yes.
school.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question, but I think before we go to mine, there's in the chat, someone
Mm-hmm.
says this point of home teacher and class teacher using conflicting methods in teaching is an issue worth
Mm-hmm.
considering by parents. And I think you've answered that question, because if your class teacher gives you suggestions on home lesson teachers, then I think they have trust, and they trust that who they're referring you to would use complementary methods with them, right? I think that should be the
True.
solution. I think
Yes.
so. Yeah, so but my own
Yes.
question that I've been fighting to ask or wanting to ask is, how do you, from both ways, so how can parents deal with unprofessionalism from teachers? So for example, you as a parent, you're educated obviously, and there's a kind of unprofessional attitude or character you are seeing or getting from your child's teacher. And then on the side of the teacher, you are getting a very unprofessional attitude from a child's parents, maybe because they are rich or they are politicians or something. How can parents and teachers deal with that? Because you've said that there's no parent teacher, we were all here for one goal, we should synergize for one thing. What if one party is unprofessional and stubborn?
Well, we have ways to deal with difficult parents, whether you like it or not. In as much as they know that you're still, fighting for the same cause. Some parents are just naturally difficult to deal with. Now, those kind of parents, what you may need to employ with them is to show patience. And as a teacher, I don't know the level of unprofessionalism that you can go as low as. Okay. I have worked somewhere where teachers at the time could ask for personal favors directly from parents. Now that's the height of
Wow.
unprofessionalism.
Mm.
And yes, they ask for favors, they ask for things like maybe money for house rent, they ask for Christmas things, they just ask for very petty, they go like without shame, they ask,
It does, yeah.
right?
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
now when that was the method I saw when I went into the school. So for me, it was like, what are you talking about? Right? Because the same parents that you have and you feel like are your confidant are the same people that would rubbish you in front of the administrators when things go south. Now, for some reason, I was able to try and cut off that whole charade of, you bring yourself down, because there's really nothing professional about that. The way you carry yourself, the parents should even be the one trying to run around you, so that whole unprofessionalism should not even be there in the first place. So for me, I would say that is a management problem. It is a school problem. It is not you as a parent trying to deal with that. The school management is the one that would deal with that, knowing that that person has caused a breach. And that's why we have policies in school. There are policies that should guide teachers' conduct. Now, when you default, then there are consequences to that, right? So then for parents dealing with difficult parents, it's just very strategic. You have parents being unprofessional and try to maybe throw the children's riches or their riches in your faces. Now, it's not for you to change the parent, it's for you to work with the child of that parent. I've been in a school where the child is telling other children, you don't know what wealth is. You have not seen wealth. I've been in a school where a child is telling telling his colleagues or his classmates that, is it just two mopos that bring you to school? Yes, I've been in that environment where you say, no, 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 we have four mopos in the car waiting.
Wow.
Yes, I
Wow.
have seen all that. But now it's left for you as a teacher or as a school to create core values in that child. So even if that child has lost it from home, and that is why you have that influence on the child. You try and make sure that you show the child that every child is the same. You can be from whatever, wherever, but you would do the same things. Everybody is the same in the classroom. And then the need for understanding that it may not always be like this tomorrow. You just have to find it's values, it's still values. You bring up topics that deals with braggers, boastful behaviors, all those things that that is toxic. You tell them the consequences of those actions and you just enlighten them, because you can't even do much. Now, when you do what you can and try to create your own classroom values, it will rub off by the time the child is going home. The parent will also see that change. Do you think that parents don't know that their children are maybe arrogant or boastful or prideful? Do you understand? My point is, make the difference with the child. The parents will see, in as much as we have oblivious parents, they will see and tell themselves the truth in the end. You don't just bother with them throwing their wealth in your face. At some point, schools need to stand their ground. When they see that happening a lot of times, if you know it's going to spoil the 100 children that you have, if that one child has to go, then that one child has to go. So trust me, if many schools keep rejecting that child, the parents would adjust. We wouldn't have to keep conforming to the fact that because we're looking for parents, they won't do their homework. Or they feel that we're slaves, or you know what I mean. It doesn't work like that. You need to tell them that you know your onion. This is not acceptable here. Whatever it is, you leave it, you keep it at home. We shouldn't bring it into the school community because we have other children that it can rub off on negatively. So you just keep on like making emphasis on that. That's just the most you can do. But you can't tell them, oh, don't throw your wealth in people's faces, because it's their nature. They may not even know any other way. But when you keep maybe making it invaluable, they would understand the message. I don't know if I was able to answer that
Yes,
question.
yes, yes. You did justice to that, obviously.
Okay.
So I think we have one
Yeah.
hand
So
up. We have very limited time left.
okay.
As you know, our policy, we like to end
Hmm.
in under or exactly 1 hour. We came in a bit late. That's why I'm just giving us a few more minutes. Any final
Okay.
thoughts, any final questions, any final contributions? We have very limited time left.
Can I contribute or ask a
Yes,
question?
please. All of the above. Any of it.
All right. So one, thank you very much actually for your presentation. It's been lively, and I use the words of other people who's been insightful.
Okay.
And one quick question, or it's that you, so kids get to interact with several teachers and at several levels.
Yes.
So we've talked about this as if we're dealing with one particular teacher, but in our system, the interaction is with several teachers and at several levels. And at different levels, you probably have different styles. Even in the same class, when they move from one class to the other, you then have teachers whose styles are completely different, whose personalities are
Different.
completely different.
Hmm.
And the child leaves school very conflicted, you know? And then the challenge then becomes, how does the parent continue to create that balance or maintain the level of influence that keeps the child stable? Because yes, you might have a great teacher in one level that you think is a mentor and you aspire to, but at another level, you have a teacher that you just completely makes you not want to go to school, you know, in the same
Yes.
school. So
Yes.
how does it how so I mean these are stories that are real, but then
Hmm.
how does the parent in that case begin to create the both the emotional and the educational balance that needs to happen? That's my thought.
Okay. Now, just like what I've earlier said when I started having this conversation, where you're coming from a different class, you may have already built a friendship or relationship with your parent, and for you, the style is 100%. Now, in a school, um, every school has a method of delivery when it comes to knowledge being passed. So if a school is dealing with, we have to always do hands-on activity, it cuts across every classroom. No matter how a teacher wants to carry on a particular topic, maybe in two different classes, two different teachers, it would definitely not be the same. Now that's why you need to trust also the management. And why do I say this? I say this because they're the ones that do the employing of the teachers. If there's been complaint, there is no way that that classroom will be left without pressure on the teacher to try to change. Now there's this daily appraisal and feedback and trainings and workloads of what needs to be done, what has to be done, what different. You get a lot of feedback. Now the truth of the matter is, if a teacher is not being as enthusiastic as he or she needs to be with their work, it is not just one parent that would note that. We would have multiple parents with the same concern. Now, when the parents make that concern and it gets to administration, there is no way that the administrator would leave that complaint unattended to. Now, in a case where the child doesn't feel like coming to school, like I said earlier, it could be much more than maybe just the teacher's personality or the teacher's mode of delivery. Now, you're not in the classroom, so you may not be able to tell, that for sure. The children are the ones in the classroom. Yes, they give feedbacks and all that. But now, if more than one parent is having the same complaint, then the management would definitely do something about it. I don't see anybody folding their hands to that kind of a situation. So they would want, of course, for that, because that could make them lose students. So they would not want to jeopardize that channel at all. That's my take on that. But if I know that if they just leave that teacher like that, trust me, it will be chaotic at the end of the day. So if you feel that there's any issue with the teacher or anything, please always go to the management and get feedback. They will definitely definitely give you maybe a timeline for you to observe, to see a change. When there's no change, please run away. That's just what I will tell you. Because I can't keep telling you just stay there, well, stay there. You need to get satisfaction. And then if you don't have that trust, then there's no point being there, because the parents are the people that will even sell the school. So if you don't feel the need to want to talk about the children's school or something, then we don't have any, there's no advertisement, right? So if you don't feel that confidence, please run away. That's as simple as it gets. But make sure that you have made an official complaint, and then they would have also given you a time frame for there to be a change. And when there's no change, please do the needful. I don't know if I was able to answer that question.
I believe you have, Miss Glory. Awesome session today, but unfortunately, we've run out of time. We started at exactly 8:05, I think, and now it's 9:05. And it's our culture, we try to keep it at under 1 or exactly 1 hour. So unfortunately, we had to say goodbye. All good things even come to an end as well. But I'd like to thank every single person who logged in, who joined the conversation today. Thank you so very much. Replays will be available. I'll send the link so you can share the replays. If you've been having fun on these sessions, please share them. Invite people to come on our sessions. We have them twice every month, every other Thursday. So the next session will be Upper Thursday. Thank you so much, Miss Gloria Ogbokoh. It's been an amazing time with you here. If you have any questions, please, you can still send them to WhatsApp. I'll forward them to her and she'll answer you. Okay. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate, and we will do this again on the 25th of on the 4th or 11th of March. I can't remember, but one of them. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Glory. And yes, just one final thing. I said I was going to add it at the end. Glory was my classmate, right? In primary school and in secondary school.
What
One of
school?
them.
What
So
school,
yes.
please?
Sorry?
School.
Okay, no, the primary school
Kalachi,
was
what
one
school? School.
early step primary school, but secondary school was Hallel College, all in Port Harcourt here. So I'm very proud of her. I'm proud that I know an excellent educator. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so
Everyone.
much,
Good
Kayla.
night, everybody. Good night.
All right. Good night.